Vancouver, the BC Human Rights Tribunal has accepted a complaint by a deaf advocacy organization that alleges Street John Ambulance is not fulfilling its duty to accommodate deaf or hard of hearing people in its courses, even though the complaint was submitted later than usually allowed. The complaint, filed by the Okanagan Valley Association of the Deaf (OVAD), in January outlines several incidents in which St. John Ambulance and the associated Street John Society is alleged to have denied paying for sign language interpreter for its courses, the first of which was in 2013. Kimberly Wood, president of OVAD, said the complaint is important to the deaf community because first aid certification is required in some workplaces, and we also would like to be able to save our loved ones or somebody who is close to us. Shutterstock. Under the tribunal's rules, a complaint must be submitted within 6 months of when the incidents are alleged to have happened. But this rule can be waived at the discretion of the tribunal, especially if the group making the complaint can prove that the discrimination wasn't just a one-time thing, but is ongoing. In a June 22 decision about whether to accept the complaint, the tribunal decided the complaint should go ahead, but it did not provide a final ruling. "I am satisfied that accepting any late-filed portion of the complaint is in the public interest," wrote tribunal member Norman Traries. Article continued. Below. Kimberly Wood, president of OVAD, said the complaint is important to the deaf community because first aid certification is required in some workplaces, and we also would like to be able to save our loved ones or somebody who is close to us. In a statement from BC's Public Interest Advocacy Centre, which is representing deaf British Columbians in the case, several court decisions establish the rights of deaf people to access sign language interpretation. And under the BC Human Rights Code, both public and private organizations, including charities, are obligated to make their services accessible to deaf people unless it causes undue hardship. Although the complaint was filed by the Okanagan Association, it was filed on behalf of all British Columbians who are deaf or hard of hearing, who use sign language, and who have been impacted by the practice of refusing to fund sign language interpretation for Street John Ambulance courses. Wood said access to sign language interpreters is a vital part of an accessible society. It's same idea of telling people in their wheelchairs that they have to bring their own ramps or build one so they can have access to buildings. We, the deaf people and hard of hearing, should be able to have access to what we need to function in our society, not denying our access, she said. According to tribunal documents, the Okanagan Valley Association of the Deaf says that in 2013 it contacted the Kelowna branch of Street John Ambulance and asked it to provide sign language interpretation for one of its courses, but was denied. A similar request happened again in 2017, to which Street John Ambulance is alleged to have replied that it does not fund sign language interpreters because it is a not-for-profit charitable organization. In another incident outlined in the documents, a staff member from the BC School of the Deaf contacted Burnaby and New Westminster branches of the society to organize private first aid training for its students, and informed the organization that the instructor would need to have a sign language interpreter to make sure the school students could understand what was being taught. But St. John Ambulance replied to her saying that although interpreters are welcome, the society is not able to book or fund interpreters. Article continued. Belloust. John Ambulance did not reply to an interview request before deadline, and its lawyer named in documents declined a request for an interview. But tribunal documents state that the society says it does not have a policy against providing sign language interpreters. In documents, the society says their denials were not pursuant to a policy, but rather were decisions made in response to requests and informed by a consideration of the circumstances at the material time.